Hey, it's David Breslow back here with you, and I am the founder of Performance Success Strategy and author of Wired to Win, the mental keys to play your best golf. In today's mental game tip, I want to talk to you about this year's US Open, the 2018 US Open. First, congratulations to Brooks Koepka for a terrific final round. But just like most US Opens, it highlights the importance of what everybody calls the mental game, right? And for years, I have been talking to golfers and teaching pros all about this thing that we call a mental game and how important it is. In fact, for years, I'm the one that's been saying that it is your game. And so many golfers, and maybe you are fit in that category as well, have a percentage that they call the mental game. They'll say that, oh, my mental game is 90% of my game, or my mental game is 50% of my game, and so on and so forth. But for years, I've been saying it's actually 100% of your game. It actually is your game. And US Opens highlight this almost every year because of the toughness of the course and the way it's set up. And the way it's set up to purposely really test the best players in the world. And this year was no different, of course. We heard all sorts of things about this particular course along the way, and I don't want to get into that. But notice how often the announcers were talking about how strong Mr. Koepka's mind was. And that is the difference. So today I want to talk to you about the mental game itself for you, the amateur golfer. And I'd like you to ask a question or two here of yourself. Number one, do you allow things on the golf course to affect the way you play? In other words, do you allow bad bounces or poor shots or inconsistency or fear, let's say, over a particular shot? Or do you allow the past to get into your way? Or do you worry about the future, and does that get into your way? So the question is, do you allow things on the golf course to get in the way and actually interfere with the way you play the game? If your answer is yes, guess what? This has nothing to do with technique. This has nothing to do with mechanics. This has all to do with this thing up here. And there's no question about it that this thing up here rules the day. You look at all the past players, the greats, the Arnold Palmers, the Jack Nicklauses, the Lee Trevinos, the Hogans, and whoever. Go back as far as you want. All of them had this going for them. Did they all have the prettiest strokes in the world? No. Did they all have the prettiest game in the world? No. What they had was this, and this was what they brought to the course all the time. And so, again, ask yourself, if I allow things on the golf course to influence the way I play the game and influence the way I feel when I'm on the golf course, that is all considered mental game stuff. You can put all of that under the same category. Do you allow, here's another question I'd like you to ask yourself. Do you allow your game to change from the practice range to the first tee? Lots of golfers I talk to over the years say yes. You might play great on the practice range. You might be warming up beautifully. You might be nice rhythm. You might be making nice ball contact, so on and so forth. Then what happens when you get to the first tee? All of a sudden you're a different golfer, right? What has really changed? What has really changed? Have you all of a sudden lost your technique or your skills? No, you didn't lose anything. You know what changed? This. This was the only thing that changed. Look at it closely. Be honest. If you know anything about what I teach, you know that I teach laws of human performance, laws of golf performance. And one of these pre-laws that I talk about, and I teach 7 laws, one of the pre-laws I talk about is the more honest you are, the quicker you get what you want. So I'm asking you to be honest with you now. That's a law because it's true for everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, what your handicap is, what your skill level is, where you live, doesn't matter. The more honest you are with yourself, the quicker you get what you want. So I'm asking you to be honest right now. Do you allow things on the golf course, bad bounces, playing partners you don't like, poor shots, results that you're not happy with? Do you allow those things to get in the way of you playing your best golf? That's all we're talking about here. We're not talking about you playing like a pro. We're talking about you playing your best golf. That's all that matters. Isn't that what you want to do every time out? Every round, don't you want to be playing your best golf every shot, every round? Well, if you want to play your best golf, you need to put yourself in position to play your best golf, which means you need to be thinking properly, you need to be feeling properly, which will cause you to start doing properly. That's the way the sequence works. Everything begins from within. I try to tell golfers this for years. I've been telling you that. Everything begins from within. That's not a magical, esoteric, mumble jumble, new age kind of statement. It's the truth. Everything begins from within. What you're doing in here, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, literally causes what you're doing to be in line with that. If you're thinking poorly, and if you're judging and criticizing and self-judging yourself, you know, that critic that we talk about so often, if all of that is going on, clearly that's going to affect what you do. All you need to do is, you don't have to believe me, all you need to do is look back at the past. How many times have you played well while all those things were going on? The answer is probably not very many, if at all. So I'm asking you to look in the mirror today, based on, again, what happened in this year's US Open. Clearly, this part of your game is everything. You can learn all the techniques you want. You can learn all the theories you want. You can learn all the concepts and strategies you want to play the golf course. All great, all necessary. But if you're not set here, mentally, physically, emotionally, and energetically, if those aren't in alignment, that's the word I use, when they're in alignment, everything you do on the golf course, you'll do better. So do you allow things on the golf course to get in your way and use them as obstacles to you to play your best golf? You may use them as excuses, you may finger point, kind of doesn't really matter. But if you're using any of these scenarios on the golf course to get in the way, that means you're allowing those things to control your mental game, which controls your actual on-course performance. So I hope you're getting the sequence now. This is not a joke. Your mind governs everything you do on the golf course. Brooks Koepka was a perfect example of it. Usually the US Open winner each year is a perfect example of it. So if that tournament requires such mental acuity, can you imagine what it would be like for you or any other golfer to play any other tournament? If you're using that tool properly, it's going to benefit everything you do on the golf course. So that's my message here for you today, okay? Ask the question, do I allow things on the golf course, conditions or people, to affect my game? If the answer is yes, that means this thing up here, this mental game, is being affected. And that should be your proof, your one-to-one connection. That should be your proof that this game up here is completely governing your game out there and what you produce on the golf course. There's just no question about it. There's no escaping it. You can't get around it. It's just the way it is. It's the way we're made. Every human being has this ability to use their mind, emotions, and energy to affect what they do on the golf course. Your mind, your body, your emotions, and your energy. Those are the four tools that I consider to be what makes up the mental game. You have them already. Why not learn how to use them and align them correctly so that you give yourself the opportunity to optimize your talent, whatever it is right now. Optimize your talent every shot, every round, period. So Dave Breslow, thanks for visiting with me for a moment here today. You're welcome to visit me at www.mentalgolfcoaching.com. Look forward to hearing from you, or leave a message here in cyberspace. I will answer it and look forward to having a chat with you in virtual reality. So Dave Breslow, have yourself a great week, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.